Hi, Martin here with a special property market update looking at the changes to landlord and tenants relationships as a result of the courts now restarting processes where evictions may be possible. Well, the National Residential Landlords Association, the NRLA, have produced some new guidelines which I think are worthy of note for all concerned, both tenants and landlords. If you want to go to nrla.org.uk, all the information is there, and I think there's a lot of concern right now that there are going to be a process of mass evictions as a result of a backlog of potential evictions which has been put on hold as a result of COVID. You may be aware that no evictions were allowed during lockdown, and as of today, literally the 21st of September, those restrictions have now been lifted. I hope that doesn't mean there's going to be a sudden flurry of evictions and that everybody just acts fairly in this. Now, of course, in every story there are always two sides to an argument. There will without doubt be landlords out there who've been in some ways taken for a bit of a ride by tenants who are especially either unsociable or causing problems to other tenants. And those people probably should quite rightly be evicted. And unfortunately, those few people probably ruin it for a lot of others. There will be a lot of people out there who quite genuinely have struggled. And although landlords do have to run businesses, they're not charities, I think there needs to be a large element of understanding in these circumstances. And I think, to be fair, most landlords are fair people. Obviously, there's bad apples in any organisations and any group in society. But I think most landlords are fair, and I think the most important thing is that dialogue is kept open. And if you're a tenant struggling, then you need to talk to your landlord and explain the circumstances and do what you can to try to come to some kind of rational, fair, manageable, affordable agreement. And I'd like to think that your suggestions will be met by most landlords with an open mind. And so hopefully redress to other actions will not be necessary. However, there have been some rules and some what the NRLA called golden rules set out. And if you go to their website again, it's that website again, nrla.org.uk, then you can find them all there. I mean, I'll briefly list them for your information here. Number one is communicate. The main thing is to start talking to your landlord or talking to your tenants if you are concerned. Start that dialogue. Number two is establish what the tenant's situation is, and if they're vulnerable, they may be disabled, a single parent, they may need help, and the local authority housing options team can also give you advice and support on that. Signpost. You need to point the tenant to organisations that may be able to support them on beneficial entitlement, debt management and that kind of stuff. Your local council can offer help and advice on that, including funding your rent. That's called discretionary housing payments, or DHP. Citizens Advice Bureau, obviously a good organisation to get a hold of, and their number is 0344 411 1444, or you can contact Shelter, who are on 0808 800 444. Next step is agree. See if you can come up with a manageable and affordable payment plan based on the tenant's circumstances. And again, it's about communicating, coming up with realistic objectives that might be able to resolve, at least short-term, the problem. Number 5 in the NRLA's list is be clear. Landlords should provide clear rent statements for 3-month periods, showing any temporary reductions in rent or deferred payments. Just make sure that everything is open book so that everyone knows exactly where they are. Number 6, consent, and this is in the NRLA's golden list. When a tenant is claiming benefits, explore seeking consent for payment of any housing element to the landlord. And as a last resort, you can also request deductions to repay arrears. but neither you nor the tenant can choose how much is deducted, as they are automatically calculated. You can find out more by ringing the Universal Credit Helpline, or the tenant can arrange it by speaking to their work coach or UC advisor. Guarantors is number 7. If there is a guarantor in place, actively involve them in discussions with tenants regarding payment of rent. Bear in mind that financial situations of guarantors may also have changed as a result of lockdown. Number 8 is mediate. If you can't initially agree, an independent mediator could perhaps be brought in to resolve differences without the time or cost of taking the situation to court, because that is what we all want to avoid at the end of the day. Expensive court fees, the drama, the trauma and the delays. So if we can get things resolved on both sides as quickly as possible, then it definitely benefits all sides. And finally, record. All landlords and tenants should keep copies of all documentation and any details of conversations, phone conversations or whatever that take place. That's the NRLA's guidelines, and I hope that that helps in some way. If you're a tenant or a landlord hoping to resolve situations, the number one rule here is try and talk. Try and find solutions that work for everybody, because once communication breaks down, it's a bit of a slippery slope. As I said, you can get more information from the NRLA. They published their golden rules for dealing with rent disputes and situations, especially as they are right now, on their website. That's www.nrla.org.uk.